This Omega Dynamic chronograph debuted in Basel in 1997. Your boy DC Gunner was 10. 10 and a half, actually, mind you, and a half. And the movies were Man in Black, Tomorrow Never Dies, James Bond with Pierce Brosnan, Jurassic Park, and of course the Titanic. Music on the music front, that year was the year when the Wu-Tang released Wu-Tang Forever double CD, and that got me forever into Wu-Tang. And of course, one of the greatest, Notorious B.I.G. Released Life After Death. And there was also a year of Backstreet Boys and whatnot, but EDC Gunner could not care less about Backstreet Boys. So also, I could not care less about watches. I was interested in other things, mainly music and the girls. And it's just the way it is. But this lovely 38 millimeter automatic no date chronograph came out, and it's beautiful. The dial was it was designed to emulate the dial style of the World War II era watches, and it's very easy to wear, and it's not big watch either. Also, it's not very thick. Also, it's 13 millimeters thick, and 45 millimeter lug to lug, 20 millimeter lug width. So you can put a 20 millimeter strap. That's really nice, and has also tapered lugs, and it's not a characteristical watch for Omega like a Seamaster, Speedmaster with the polished parts and everything else, but it's really nice. Also, this is not an Omega in-house movement. This is 2892.2 ETA base moment with the chronograph module on top. You can see this by the hands. The crown is lower recess and the module is on the top of the moment. And it's not something special in regards to the moment. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but it's also 50-meter water resistant. It has a screw down crown, and it definitely looks like a World War II pilot's chronograph. Inside of the watch, this is Omega Caliber 1138. It's 45 joules automatic modular complications. There's also a vertical clutch system for chronograph, and this is, like I said, ET 2892 base movement, 28800 vibrations per hour, and with the chronograph module, and it does feature hacking stop second functionality, and has a screw down crown, which is really plus. The pushers are not, because this is like a, I love the pushers. These all look like the many 50s vintage chronographs, and the watch appears uh, larger on the wrist than the 38 millimeter would suggest, and I definitely love the looks of it. This Omega is one of those watches that is just going to become a vintage. It's not vintage yet, but it's gonna be vintage, and I think it's a great buy. I know it's off the shelf moment, and but many higher end luxury watch manufacturers in this 90s era used the moments that were not in house. It was not a thing back then. Just after the luxury watch revival, every brand now must have in-house moment. But back in the 90s, Rolex used Zenith movements for the Daytonas, Patek used Lemanias and JLC, and it was just that thing back in the day. So yeah, it's nothing wrong with that. This watch is nothing about the movement, but the best thing about Dynamic, it's the way it looks. It was an entry level watch at the time. It's not rare. It was probably 2.5 years production run of this watch, and it's not rare, but the way it looks, I just love this calligraphic numerals on it and yellow details. But the proportions of the watch is what it really brings it all together. There's a space for everything, and there's no empty space on the dial. I don't like this new modern chronographs that have a football field of anti-space. This one is just well nicely packaged, again like the chronographs on the 50s, and the dynamic is not a historical landmark, and ticks a lot of boxes, and definitely I would take this over the Speedy Reduced, because Speedy Reduced looks like just like a real thing, like the moonwatch chronograph, and this one has its own unique look, and there's no other watch from Omega that looks like this one.